All right, guys, just giving a dinner time update with the first 8 games of Friday over. I'm going to go over all of them. A lot of people very pissed off that there were no real upsets in the early slate. Of course, works out really well for me. I'm basically nailing every game. My bracket recently was updated. It's now in the 101st percentile. We've never seen this before. It's unbelievable. But guys, taking a look at the first game of the day, it is Michigan State holding serve as the 2-point favorites. They beat USC out of the Pac-12. This, for Michigan State, just looking at it, pretty standard win. Both teams shoot 35% from three. Michigan State's got to work on their free throws, I'll tell you that. But that was honestly the difference. 25 free throws for MSU to just 8 for USC, both with 8 offensive rebounds overall. Michigan State, the steals advantage by 5. So MSU, they were leading by around 8 or 9 late in the first half. USC comes back, early in the game they were leading. USC comes back late in the first half. It's tied at 34 at halftime. And then Michigan State kind of pulls away midway through the second half, maintains that. And the last few minutes, there was no drama. It was a clean win for Michigan State. And I said I'm very high on this Michigan State team going into the tournament. The Ohio State loss was an aberration due to some three-point luck for the Buckeyes. And I like Michigan State. I'm surprised the amount of people on USC. I know it's a 10v7 matchup, but it was pretty clear to me that Michigan State was the better team, and they will be advancing. The next game we're looking at, it is Xavier surviving barely over Kennesaw State. The first thing I want to say about this game, I know people at the end were saying that Kennesaw got screwed. It was a foul. I really didn't see a foul there, and if there's going to be a foul, you can't bail them out. Like, if anything, it's ticky-tack. I don't know. I liked the no call. But yeah, Xavier as a 3 seed, I believe I picked them to go to the Sweet 16, but it really wasn't because I think Xavier's this great team. It was more so just the way the bracket aligned. So Xavier very easily could have lost this game if Kennesaw State would have made 1 or 2 more shots. Xavier only attempts 12 threes. They shoot better from the field. Offensive rebounding, that's a bit of an issue. If you're Xavier, you're a 3 seed. You're getting out-rebounded on the offensive glass by 6. That is not a good sign moving forward, but this is a survive and advance thing. They end up winning. This is like the classic upset that probably should have happened. It didn't happen, and now we're kind of left with basically, no upsets to this point. But I will tell everyone, let me just calm everyone's nerves about the whole upsets and things like that. I am guaranteeing a Penn State victory tonight. I'm guaranteeing a Drake. Oh my God. Bet your life on Drake. There's some numbers on Drake. You want to talk about the 5v12 matchups, 0-3 so far. Do we really think not 112 seed is going to beat a 5 seed? There's going to be one, and I predicted every 12-5 game right to this point, and now I'm saying, listen, now we get the upset, and it's not even an upset. This game's basically a pick'em, but I'm saying this is an auto lock. I've never seen a game so easy. It's Drake winning, and it's Penn State over Indiana. We will get upsets tonight. That is a lock, and I'm also worried about Kansas State all of a sudden. I'm a little worried about Kansas State, but I still like them because of their guard play. Moving on, we've got Baylor beating UC Santa Barbara. This was a game close in the first half, but Baylor, they're a steady team. They've got a great system, and they pull away and they win. So Baylor, when I originally looked at this team going into the tournament, I put them on upset alert until I looked into their analytics and I saw they had 4+ elite offensive players, and I said, listen, there's no way this team is losing in round 1. It's not going to happen. They're too talented offensively, and they end up shooting 55% from the field in kind of a weird game. You only score 74 points, but you're at 55% from the field, maybe a little bad from free throws, 62%, but it's college. You got to live with it. The offensive rebound's not a big advantage for Baylor, but they were really efficient. And again, kind of a close game in the first half. They end up pulling away there at the start of the second half and winning easily and covering the spread. What were they, maybe 12-point favorites? Honestly, I don't even know. I just made that up. They were like around 10 or 12-point favorites, something like that. I'm sure they covered. They were certainly not 17-point favorites. Next, we have St. Mary's. So this is another 12v5 game. And guys, this is one of those where, I gotta say this was a good call by me, because you think about this, so many people picking VCU. This is the 12-5 upset. Everyone was saying St. Mary's, the worst game of their season against Gonzaga. They had a game score of 10. It was the worst game score by far of the season for them. And they just came out and they completely outclassed a VCU team that really shouldn't have been in the tournament. I think Dayton probably should have made it. Or honestly, you know what? I think St. Louis should have made it in this tournament. That team was the class of that conference. VCU got some lucky wins in that conference, and they end up making it. So St. Mary's, they've got a very good overall deep team. They're advancing now. And they're probably going to be in a 5-4 matchup, I think, just looking at this game. I mean, this is just great news for St. Mary's. 3 of 17 from 3. In a 12-5 matchup, you're still winning by 12 points. You're 17% from 3. The free throw line, 20 of 27. That'll get it done. That's really nice right there. Overall, really no distinct advantage. Offensive rebounds, that's always the thing I look at, is offensive rebounds. How many extra possessions are you creating? Also steals and blocks, very even. This just came down to St. Mary's being deeper, making their free throws, getting to the line. Very close game, 29-28 at the end of the first half, but they end up winning. Next, you've got Marquette overwhelming Vermont. All these games kind of seem to go the same way. Like, this was a close game. Marquette kind of jumped out to a lead, and I thought they were going to rout them, but Vermont really brought it back. It got to a point where it was 45-40 early in the second half, and Marquette really shows that they're the class here. Just a few little factoids about Vermont. You may look at this game and be like, yeah, obviously Marquette's going to win easily, but Vermont actually was rated better than every single 14 seed in the tournament. They were ridiculously underseeded by a drunk committee who's done several things wrong when it comes to the seedings, the regions. They completely botched the South region, making it basically a cakewalk there for Bama. But yeah, Vermont probably should have been a 14 seed. Also, you want to talk about UNC Asheville being a de facto 16 seed. I mean, there's just so many issues, but this is a good Vermont team, and they had a little fight early in the second half, but Marquette simply, outclassed them. And I do have Marquette making the national championship, and I am very concerned about that pick, because historically, teams that were not ranked in the preseason AP poll never make the Final Four, let alone make it to the national championship. So I'm concerned about that pick, but I think this is a good sign for Marquette getting this victory, shooting 52%, 10 of 20 from 3. Is it a little bit above average? Yes, but it's not crazy. So they end up getting that win. And then moving, we've got this game, probably the worst, I would say, the most ugly game so far of the tournament. You've got Iowa State attempting 19 more field goals than Pittsburgh and scoring 41 points. I mean, Iowa State with one of the all-time worst offensive performances of a higher seed I have seen. They had 9 more offensive rebounds. It didn't matter. There was some questions in the pregame I saw on Twitter about the rims not being level. And I just got to say, I hope that's the case legitimately, because otherwise these teams, especially Iowa State, I mean, you're shooting 23% from the field, 9% from 3, 50. I mean, look at those shooting splits, 23, 9, and 58. 58% from the free throw line. It's just real bad. And you know what, man? The first 4, this is the only game so far today I got wrong, because I just hate picking teams in the first 4. Because it's like, I don't even know who's going to be playing. If I'm filling out my bracket on Sunday night, I'm not going to sit there and pick, Pittsburgh's going to beat Nevada or, whoever they faced. I don't think did they face Nevada? I think Arizona they faced Mississippi State. Yeah, like it's just the first four, man. I can't get on with the first four. I really can't. I knew Iowa State was a fraud, anyways. I had them losing in the round of 32, but there is that. Next, we have Creighton beating NC State by 9. So Creighton, very important for me. I said they would cover the 5.5-point spread. It was a little hairy there. NC State played well, but they end up covering, and this is really good news for Creighton overall. Going 3 of 20 from 3, 15% still winning. Really good from the free throw line. You make your free. That's so important, man. If Creighton had missed 3 or 4 more free throws in the first half or early in the second half, this game is down to the wire. It's a fouling game. It's a 2-point game. It's a last possession. It's a fluke NC State 3 away from sending Creighton home. But if you make the free throws, you don't even have to deal with an end-of-game situation. So that I just looked at the score. Now it's 2-2. Fairleigh Dickinson was up 2-0. So the dream of Fairleigh Dickinson is alive and well. And then this game, which is about to go final or should have just went final, UConn just absolutely annihilates Iona in the second half after Iona started off really hot from 3. A lot of people are going to really love the way UConn played in the second half. I have UConn in my Final Four. I know they're kind of a trendy pick as a 4 seed to make it, and that is a great. I mean, they had over 50 points in the second half, and they end up just crushing Iona. So UConn, very, very good stuff there. Certainly, they're a Final Four team for me. We've got a score update. Fairleigh Dickinson's up 5-4. Oh my God, please it's not going to happen. I'm going to sound dumb when I upload this video and they're down by 30, but it's just funny. But guys, just looking at the bracket, so you've got Creighton Baylor in the 3-6 matchup. That's a complete pick'em. That is a complete toss-up. I love it. And the bracket is really wide open for both Creighton and Baylor right now because you win that game. I'm not going to say you're guaranteed the Elite 8, but you get Missouri or Princeton. I'm actually liking Princeton to beat Missouri and possibly take on either Baylor or Creighton. I don't know how to grade Baylor. It seems like they're really inconsistent. Well, Creighton's inconsistent too, so that's a very hard game to pick. Next, you've got Michigan State taking on Marquette. You know, that's a game I'm very concerned about. As someone that has Marquette going far in the tournament, you've got Izzo in March. It's miserable. We'll see what happens. You hope Marquette wins that game, but certainly, you know, retrospective looking at it, you'd probably want USC facing Marquette if you're a Marquette fan. You don't want any part of Michigan State, even if Marquette's the better team. We know how March is. You know, those games are ridiculous. Next, you have Pittsburgh and Xavier. So this is part of the reason why I had Xavier going to the Sweet 16. The bracket is just wide open. They're going to be favorites over Pitt. They would have been favorites over Iowa State too. I really don't love Xavier, but one of these teams is going to make the Sweet 16, and I think it's going to be Xavier there. But that's going to do it for this update for the first 8 games. But guys, that's going to do it for this update for the first 8 games of Friday. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.